This is the voice of Zimbabwe. This is the voice of Zimbabwe, broadcasting on Radio Mozambique in Maputo.
Pamberi ne Chimurenga, pamberi ne Hondo, pamberi ne ruzhinji rweZimbabwe, pasi ne imperialism, pasi ne neo-colonialism, pasi na Ian Smith, pasi na Ndabaningi Sitole, pasi na Abel Muzorewa, aluta continua. The Patriotic Front is now broadcasting your program through Radio Mozambique. People of Zimbabwe, victory is certain.
Maputo, once called Lorenzo Marx, the capital of Mozambique, which now plays host to the largest, most secretive guerrilla army operating against Zimbabwe Rhodesia. Its leader is said to be a terrorist. He's so hated and feared that his fellow countrymen are forbidden to publish his name, Robert Mugabe.
How are you this?
For so long spurned by the West and branded as the man who massacres the innocent, Mugabe is now a key figure in the London talks. In Maputo, this is his central committee, his inner cabinet, and these are probably the most educated of the Salisbury regime's opponents. Almost every man here has spent a decade shut away without trial in Rhodesian jails. Simon Mozenda, the party's vice president, Edgar Takeri, secretary general. All of them were educated by Christian missionaries. Some once tried to forge a peaceful, multiracial community within Rhodesia, but even those like Didymus Mutasa are now all revolutionaries.
Pamberi Central Committee, High Command, General Staff, Pamberi Mome Zimbabwe, Pamberi Hondo, Pamberi Chimurenga.
It's these people who've set the pace in Rhodesia's 14-year war. There are two main guerrilla armies formed into a hitherto tenuous alliance called the Patriotic Front. Based in Zambia, Joshua Nkomo and his party ZAPU. About 2,000 of his troops are now thought to be operating inside Rhodesia. To the east, with its headquarters in Maputo, is Robert Mugabe's ZANU, the Zimbabwean African National Union. Its army, ZANLA, is widely conceded to have over 8,000 troops in Rhodesia at any one time. Of the two leaders, Mugabe is the least known, but he's grown to become a powerful contender for total control of a new independent Zimbabwe. And Mugabe holds a trump card in the London talks. Since ZANU, even more than ZAPU, is still committed in the field to extending the war, ZANU's agreement is essential if the war is to be ended. But despite appeals for a ceasefire, the latest of them yesterday, Mugabe is sticking to his guns.
There's no doubt that our people want peace, but the great bulk of the people, the majority of the people who have suffered under the regime for over 90 years, do not want peace at all cost. They would like an honorable peace, a peace which will enable them to assume the sovereignty of the country. And if this is not forthcoming, I'm sure they will be prepared that we continue the war.
Could there be a settlement which didn't put the Patriotic Front in power in Salisbury?
No, what we are really negotiating is not a settlement that is just favorable to the Patriotic Front. It's a settlement favorable to anybody, any group whatsoever, which would like to participate in elections.
The image of Mugabe presented by the British press has been consistently hostile. A survey conducted for this programme found that during 1978, the 16 major Fleet Street papers published 20,903 column inches on Rhodesia. But of all that they said, only 30% was found in the survey to be neutral or unbiased, despite a cautious system of classification which was designed to favour the newspapers. In fact, 50% of all column inches broadly reflected the views of white Rhodesians, and almost all the news came from Salisbury. Only 20% reported the views of the Patriotic Front. It's an imbalance that a former Rhodesian Prime Minister acknowledges. Garfield Todd.
If there is an atrocity which is blamed on the guerrillas, the government will fly in people and let them see it. If the government shoots 60 innocent villagers or napalm a village, they don't fly in the journalists to let them see that.
Really place the sights on battle.
Television and radio have the same problems.
Vastly outnumbered by black Africans in their own country and jostled by hostile black African nations along most of her borders.
The Salisbury regime has worked hard at gaining a favourable image. It claims a free press, but often stage manages where journalists can go and what they can see. Even then, news reports are sometimes censored. Journalists are normally forbidden to enter tribal trust lands where 80% of blacks live, so they may have to rely on government handouts. Those who displease the regime are sometimes given private warnings, refused work permits, or even expelled. Inside Zimbabwe Rhodesia, it's forbidden to use the words freedom fighter or guerrilla. But the guerrillas themselves have repeatedly denied reporters access to their armies, even to their leaders, and so the stereotypes are easily reinforced.
Fully armed and indisciplined terrorists are close to equal terms with trained soldiers.
Mugabe's notorious murder list, an intemperate threat to collaborators, was widely condemned, but no mention was made of Smith's death list. The Salisbury regime actually puts a price on guerrilla leaders' heads, dead or alive.
You know, Mr. Mugabe,